Trends in Electronics, Communication and Information Technology, organized by Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, JSSAT Noida. Our speaker for today's first session is Dr. Kirti Seth, Associate Professor, School of Computer and Information Engineering, INHA University, Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Dr. Kirti Seth is an academician and she has more than 15 years of teaching experience in various reputed organizations. She has published more than 50 research papers in various reputed journals. Her area of interest are machine learning, artificial intelligence, soft computing, and software engineering. She was awarded Young Scientist in Software Engineering 2017 in ARM 2017 and Most Promising Women Educationist of the Year Award in India Excellence Summit 2017. Her topic of today's session is nature-inspired optimization techniques. On behalf of JSSAT and EC department, I welcome you, madam, and request you to start the session.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Ms. Chaya, for such a nice introduction. I would like to congratulate the organizers of the event for organizing such a successful webinar. And I hope all of you are well along with your families during this critical time of COVID-19. So just to start my session, let me share my screen. Okay, so my today's topic of discussion is bio-inspired optimization technique. So this term bio-inspired optimization technique is composed of two things. First is bio-inspired technique and second one is optimization techniques. So we'll be discussing both the things, what are bio-inspired techniques and what are optimization techniques and how they are related to each other. So Mother Nature has almost have the solution of everything. Whatever problem we have, the solution already exists in Mother Nature. The only thing is how we find that solution. So researchers and scientists in today's world are working on this. They are looking up on the Mother Nature and they are extracting the solution of the existing problem. So these type of solutions are known as bio-inspired technique. And then comes to the optimization technique. So we'll be look both. I'll describe both the things, what is bio-inspired techniques and what are optimization technique. And then we will be discussing some example of bio-inspired optimization techniques. So encouragement from biocomputation is used to describe research into human-made system that possesses some of the essential properties of life. Just a minute. So it includes twofold research. First thing is that how computation techniques are helpful in biological terms. So we have seen so many examples, like we are preparing artificial heart, we are preparing some hearing aid for people. So these are how computational techniques are helpful in biological system. And second one is the use of biology or biological processes as metaphor and inspiration or enabler in developing new computing technologies and new areas of computer science. So this is our today's topic of discussion, that how biology is helpful in computational techniques, how by using some biological phenomena we can enhance our technique, we can enhance system, or you can say we can develop some systems which will be helpful in so many existing problems which cannot be solved by the simple computation methods. So this will be our today's topic of discussion. This is also known as A-life. Biocomputation is also known as A-life, or you can say artificial life. So there are so many things encompasses under the area of bio-inspired computation. Some examples are genetic algorithm. Genetic algorithms are based on evolution. We all know Darwin's evolution theory. So these algorithms are based on evolution. Then emergent systems are based on the behaviors of insects exist in nature, like ants, termites, bees, and wasps. So we will be basically, my focus will be on these emergent system today. Then artificial immune system also comes under the category of bio-inspired computing. It is inspired by human immune system, and it gives us we could implement an artificial immune system also. We could implement an immune system for our devices also, like so that no viruses can attack. So it can be implemented in many ways. So these kind of systems are known as artificial immune system. Basically today we will be focusing on emergent systems or emergent algorithms. So you can see this is a whale, and something is designed this with the design of this whale. This is a flower, you can say this is a tree, and the building is designed on the basis of this tree. This is the beak of the bird, and bullet train is designed on the basis of this beak of the bird. And this is an insect, and a kind of helicopter or drone system is designed on the basis of the design of this insect. So these are the discovered some examples of bio-inspired computations, but it is much more than this. So so first we'll discuss about optimization problems. So all the bio-inspired optimization techniques come under the umbrella of combinatorial optimization problem. So to understand combinatorial optimization problem, what is optimization? We can say optimization is as ageless as time. Always, this is human nature. Once we find the solution of anything, we try to optimize it. And once we optimize it, we again try to optimize it. We always want to find an optimal solution. So optimization is as ageless as time. Since the beginning of this earth, optimization is exist in nature also. For example, if we are going from our office to our home, we will definitely try to find an optimal route. We will definitely try to find a short path. If I'm talking here, I will definitely try to deliver more content in less amount of time. So this is a kind of optimization. But in our day-to-day activity, we always try to optimize the thing. Optimization is achieving the best with the available resources while satisfying the constraint. We optimize in our daily lives. Nature seems to optimize almost everything. Whatever is there, optimization is exists in nature. We optimize, it is about surviving with what one has and getting the best whatever you have. Optimization, you can say optimization is a way of life. Even a small kid, if he is doing the homework of his school homework, he will try to optimize that particular the way how he can finish his homework in the less amount of time. He will definitely try to optimize it. The more we know about something, the more we see where optimization can be applied. But the more we know about something, we want to optimize that particular thing. Some examples of optimization are finding fastest route from home to class, optimal allocation of time for homework, optimal budgeting system. Yeah, definitely when we prepare a budget for an organization, for our home also, we definitely try to optimize that budget. So this is a kind of, like, for example, the technical definition of optimization is finding values of variables that minimize or maximize the objective function while satisfying the constraint. So we have some constraints. Using those constraints, we have to minimize or maximize our objective function. We have some objective function, and we will try to minimize it is depend upon the problem. For example, if we are talking about the cost, we will always try to minimize the cost. For example, if we are talking about the performance, we will performance here is our ultimate goal. We will always try to maximize that performance. So it depends upon, for example, if you want to purchase a computer, you focus on performance, so you will try to maximize the performance. And if you want to go for some touring kind of thing, you will always try to minimize your budget. So this is a kind it depends upon, optimization depends upon your problem statement, that you want to minimize your goal, or you want minimize your objective function, or you want to maximize it. So this is the goal of optimization. And then we have optimization algorithm. There are two categories: deterministic optimization algorithm and stochastic optimization algorithm. So deterministic algorithms follow a rigorous procedure, and its path and values of both design variables and functions are repeatable. So all the legacy technique like simplex function, linear simplex function, dual simplex functions, These all techniques comes under the category of deterministic optimization algorithm. And stochastic always have some randomness. So for NP-hard problems, we use stochastic techniques, and our bio-inspired optimization techniques also lie in the category of stochastic optimization techniques. So this optimization techniques, again, we can divide on the basis of objective single objective optimization techniques or multi-objective optimization techniques. So single objective optimization technique involves only one objective function, whereas multi-objective optimization techniques involve more than one function. For example, if we want to focus only on the performance, we want to purchase the car, and we want only the mileage or performance. So that is our single objective optimization technique. And multi-objective is if we want to focus on performance also, we want to focus on engine size also, we want to focus on a kind of design also, we want to focus on color also. So it means now we have more than one objectives. So these type of techniques are known as multi-objective optimization techniques. So there are some traditional methods and non-traditional methods. Traditional methods are all deterministic optimization techniques: calculus of variation, non-linear programming, geometric programming, linear programming, dynamic programming, and integer programming. Non-traditional methods are mostly bio-inspired computing techniques. They are come into existence in last 3 or 4 decades. So they are genetic algorithm, simulated annealing, ant colony optimization, particle swarm, artificial bee optimization. So our focus will be on these two algorithms, ant colony optimization and particle swarm optimization today. So these problems, just a minute, I don't know. These problems has become testing ground for every new approach that tend to solve every emerging engineering optimization. So these kind of techniques are like non-traditional techniques, ant colony optimization, bee colony optimization, they have been the testing ground for all emerging engineering optimization problem. Classical methods, like they have come up with exponential computational complexity, and it is their one of the biggest drawbacks. You cannot find a solution of these problems, NP-hard problems, with the classical techniques. So that's why there was definitely a need to discover some new methods, and that's why these non-traditional methods or bio-inspired or nature-inspired methods came into existence. Developing and working creatures in nature has shown themselves as one of the most peculiar source of inspiration for designing and inventing new system and algorithm in different field of science and technology. So here we will discuss nature-inspired optimization techniques. These techniques are called meta-heuristic optimization techniques. So in some books you will read heuristic optimization term for these techniques, and some describe it meta-heuristic. But for these techniques, both the terms meta-heuristic and heuristic use interchangeably. But there is a slight difference between heuristic and meta-heuristic algorithms. Actually, heuristic are for a specific problem, and meta-heuristic algorithms are problem independent algorithms. So when we talk about problem independent algorithms, so we say that these only provide us the weight of solution. You can they only provide us an idea. You can fit that idea into your problem. You can fit that particular concept into your problem. So these heuristic techniques are known as approximate solution. They don't know that how far you are from the goal, but they give you a clue of good solution, but they cannot tell you that how much good their particular solution is. But meta-heuristic techniques are approximation solution. They will tell you that how good your solution is. So there are many nature-inspired algorithms such as genetic, particle swarm, etc., working on the principle of different natural phenomena. So some nature-inspired algorithms are these: evolutionary algorithm, ant colony optimization, particle swarm, artificial immune system, and bee colony optimization. So today we will discuss, I'll be discussing ant colony optimization algorithm. And if time permits, then I will be discuss particle swarm optimization also. My focus will be on ACU, and if time left, then we'll be discuss particle swarm optimization also. Okay, so first we have to discuss, because they are ant colony optimization is on based on the behavior of ants. So first we'll discuss swarm intelligence. So they are called swarm algorithms also. So it is necessary to know that what is a swarm. So almost all the nature inspired algorithms are inspired either by biological system or physical system or chemical systems. But by far most of the bio-inspired algorithms which are in existence are inspired with biological systems. So that's why we say the nature inspired algorithm as bio-inspired algorithm also. And among all the bio-inspired algorithms, there is a special class of algorithm which is inspired with the behavior of social insects such as ants, bees, fishes, birds. These algorithms are known as swarm algorithms or swarm intelligence algorithm. So first we should know that what is swarm and what is known as swarm intelligence. So swarm intelligence is the collective, swarm is known as the brain of brain. Swarm intelligence is collective intelligence of some species, some natural species exist in nature. They behave collectively. These are for those like ants, like fishes, like birds. They cannot do anything individually, but in the collection, in a group, they can achieve many more things. So this collection, their group is known as swarm, and their combined intelligence is known as swarm intelligence. That's why we say that swarm is a brain of brains. So this swarm intelligence, see, you can see this is a fish schooling. This is again, no, this is a fish schooling. Fishes collectively search for their food. This is known as swarm. This is bird flocking. They can go in the search of food collectively. So this is a swarm. This is ant colonies. We always see that ants are going together. So there are 5 basic principles of this swarm intelligence which work for any kind of swarm, for any species, like awareness, autonomy, solidarity, expandability, and resiliency. Awareness says that each member of the swarm must be aware of his surrounding. So it is a kind of, every member should know that how many means how far it is from its neighbor and how far it is from the goal, and for what they are going for what they are searching for. Autonomy is to self-coordinate. Each member must operate as an autonomous master. It is a decentralized system. There is no master of the group. Everyone is autonomous. Everyone is of its own master, and they will be they will move together in autonomous manner. Solidarity: when a task is completed, members should autonomously look for a new task. So once the task is completed, members should look for a new task automatically. It is not so that once a swarm is formed, it is forever. They can join their another swarm, they can leave a particular swarm. So once a task is completed. Expandability: there should be a dynamic expansion. At any moment of time, any individual participant can join that particular swarm. Similarly, resiliency: when members are removed the system, the system should be self-healing. As I said, that it should be a dynamic expansion. If somebody wants to leave, if some individual wants to leave at particular amount of time, it can leave, and then system should be self-healing. So there are 5 basic properties of these swarms. So now we are going to discuss ant colony optimization. So first we have to understand that what is the basic idea behind this algorithm called ant colony optimization. It is based on the behavior of ants. If you notice that if there is some food source on the ground, and if you see that initially there is no ant, you will see that in seconds there will be an number of ants. There will be hundreds of ants, thousands of ants. So what is this phenomena? Somebody noticed this phenomena, and if you look closely to those ants, these ants always follow a special path, or you can say these ants always follow a shortest path. So on the basis of this phenomena of ant, Marco D'Arrigo, during his PhD thesis in early 1990s, discovered this algorithm called as ant colony optimization. So it is based on the behavior of real ants. So these real ants have some properties. So first one is they have limited individual capabilities, means they cannot achieve anything individually, but in groups they can do much. Rudimentary sites, real ants, almost all the species of real ants cannot have visionary capabilities, or if they have, it is very means very short, very less. Otherwise they cannot see at all. So if they cannot see on the food, how they will reach to the food source? Limited video and auditory communication, they cannot communicate. They don't have auditory communication, they don't have visionary communication. Then how they reach to their food, and how other ants know about? If one ant go there, how other ants know about? They are not capable of achieving complex tasks on their own. However, in groups they can do much. So they have one sensing organ, that is smell sensing organ. So they can, like when the ants are moved, they lay down a particular chemical that is known as pheromone, and on the basis of the smell of that pheromone, other ants can detect the path. So this is the basic idea of real ants. Now ants are capable of achieving the group results, like nest building and defense, nest temperature regulation, forming bridges, cooperatively carrying large item. They can, if you have seen sometime, they carry, means as compared of their weight, they carry a food source together, that is large item, sorting brood or food item. Then foraging for food. So this our ant colony optimization, natural optimization ant colony algorithm is inspired by this foraging or food. They go in the search of food together. This is the ant colony optimization is the most basic, first discovered nature inspired algorithm. It is the most basic algorithm, yet it is the most used algorithm till today. It is the most used algorithm. However, it may change a lot, means like once it was first proposed by D'Arrigo, so many versions has come, but it is the most, there are so many existing algorithm, but yet ant colony optimization is the most existing algorithm, most used algorithm till date. So it is based on the two things. First is stigmergy and second is foraging of food. Foraging of food means they search together the food sources, and stigmergy says that individual leave marker or messages. These don't solve the problem in themselves. They cannot solve problem themselves, but they affect other individual in a way that helps solve the problem. As we will see, this is how ants find the shortest path. They lay down them some substance that is called pheromone, and this substance work as a marker on the ground. And then foraging means searching for the food together. So this is the basic idea behind ant colony optimization. So it is developed by Marco D'Arrigo in 1991 during his PhD thesis. He is an Italian scientist. Ants are agents. They move along. Now this is the definition of artificial ants. Once we talked about the real ant, what are the properties real ants have? On the basis of real ants, we enhance the process, and the D'Arrigo defined what artificial ants have and what they can do. They move along between nodes in a graph. They choose where to go based on the pheromone strength, means like, for example, it is about, we are talking about the shortest path. So every place is represented by a node in the graph, and ants can move between one node to another node in the graph. They choose where to go based on the pheromone strength, and maybe you can add some other things also. So based on the pheromone strength, they choose their path. Sorry. An ant's path represent a specific candidate solution. Path for every ant represent a specific candidate solution. And it means there are two things, local path and global path. Local is representing one ant path, and global updation is about all ant path. When an ant has finished a solution, pheromone is laid on its path according to the quality of solution. The pheromone trail affects behavior of other ants by stigmergy, means it leaves the marker for other ants. So So what is pheromone trail? Individual ants lay pheromone trails while traveling from the nest to food source or in the opposite direction, possibly in both direction, they lay down the food. This pheromone is not a permanent substance. This pheromone gradually evaporates. So, but the pheromone trail strength accumulate with multiple ants using path. When many of ants are using the same path, it accumulates, the strength of pheromone will accumulate. And it is supposed that most ants will use the shortest path. So that's why pheromone evaporate, but still pheromone exists, and on the basis of that amount of that pheromone, ants decides about the shortest path. So this is the concept. Ants navigate from nest to food source. Shortest path is discovered by a pheromone trail. Each ant moves at random. Pheromone is deposited on the path, and ant detect lead ant's path inclined to follow, and more pheromone on path increases the probability the path being followed, because only the basis on the markers ant follow that particular path. So this is pictorial representation of whatever I said till now about ant colony optimization. Let's say it is a food in nest, and ants are traveling to the both the direction. They are going from food to nest and nest to food. Then this path is in the second figure, this path is obstructed by an object. The path is obstructed by an object. Again, ant are following the both path. Then new paths are established like this. So if you see that upper path is the shortest path and lower path is the longest path. So here, when more ant will be accumulate, more pheromone will be here, because it is the shortest path. So evaporating pheromone will take the more time. So that's why more pheromone will be collected on this path, and gradually all ants will establish this path, or this is known as shortest path. So this is the basic idea behind ant colony optimization. And ant systems start node selection at random. Any ant can select any node at random. So there will be, when you design a graph, there will be n number of ants, and any ant can select any node at random. And based on the amount of trail presents on possible path from starting node, higher probability for path will be more trail. The path will be selected more with the more ant that will be have more pheromone. Ant reaches next node, select next path. As soon as they reach to the, like for one from node A to B, they select one path, and then as soon as they reach to the next node, again to go to the next node, they will select the next path individually. It continues until until individual path reach to the starting node. And when all ants reach to the starting node, then we will update with the shortest path, and again this iteration will work until unless the almost all ants will reach to when all ants reach to the starting node, the path will be same. We will keep on repeating the process. So it is a completed tour is analyzed for optimality, trail amount adjusted to favor better solution. Now what scientists have done, they can adjust the pheromone amount, because pheromone is the one thing which we have to pass with the ant. So they can adjust the pheromone amount themselves. For better solution receives more trail, worse solution receive less trail, and higher probability of ant selecting path. New cycle is performed, repeated until most ants select the same tour on every cycle. So the process will be repeated unless most of the ants will select the same tour. Now, this is the pseudo code, a kind of thing. Do while stopping criteria not satisfied. So stopping criteria should be all ants select the same path. Then this is for the inner loop. Each ant completes a tool. When each ant completes a tour, the whatever is the shortest path that will be updated, that the pheromone amount available on that path will be updated, and so it then it is update the global trail of your algorithm. So these are the formulas which we have used for ant colony optimization. First one is delta tau ijk. So delta tau is amount of pheromone deposited by kth ant on the edge connecting node I and j. So any any ant connect for the amount of pheromone deposited by kth ant on the edge connecting node I and j. So if kth ant connecting the node moving to the path I and j, it will deposit the pheromone delta tau. And how do we represent this delta tau? Delta tau will be 0 if aunt is not traveling from the edge ij. Definitely if aunt is not traveling to that edge ij, it will not lay down any substance. It will be 1 upon Lk if aunt is traversing, if kth aunt is traversing on the edge I and j. So Lk is the length of the path traveled by aunt k. So why we write here 1 upon Lk? 1 upon Lk means if length will be long, then pheromone will be lesser. If length will be short, then pheromone will be more. So we want to means like we want to, because we want to find out the shortest path. So that's why we put it 1 upon Lk. If you want to maximize something, you can directly put it Lk. So this is design parameters. It designs according to your problem. Concept is ant colony optimization. Now tau ijk is summation of k is equal to 1 to m. This is for every ant. This is for particular ant. And now tau ijk is for all ant. K is equal to 1 to m, where m is the total number of ants. This is summation of delta tau ijk. Here we do not consider evaporization of this pheromone. Now tau ijk is equal to 1 minus rho tau ij plus summation of k is equal to 1 delta tau ijk. What is 1 minus rho? This is with evaporization, and rho is known as evaporization constant. And we can choose, this is called algorithmic related parameter, and this is choose according to our algorithmic requirement. Usually the value of rho will be between 0 to 1. If you don't want to consider it, then you can take it 1. Otherwise, it depends upon you that how much importance you want to give to evaporization of pheromone. So according to that particular thing, you will choose what will be the value of rho, and usually it will be into between 0 to 1. Now Pij is a probability of choosing edge and edge ij. Let's say some ant choose edge ij. That is known the probability that ant will use edge I and j. So it will be tau ij alpha to the power alpha, eta ij to the power alpha upon summation of tau ij to the power alpha into eta ij to the power alpha. This is for all nodes. So this is eta tau. We know that what is tau. Eta ij is quality of ij edge on the graph. Sometimes we associate some weight on the graph, that is known as quality of some weight on the edges, and that weight is known as quality of edges. So it depends upon everything depends upon the designer or your problem specific statement that you want to give, you want to consider quality of edge or not. If you do not want to consider quality of edge, then you can remove this eta. And this alpha and beta are algorithmic related or problem specific parameters which we can choose according to our problem. Usually the value is between 0 to 1. Now applications where we can apply. So almost all the optimization problem, we can apply, but the classical optimization problem where we can apply our ant colony optimization is routing problems, where you have to fix the route. Urban transportation problem, where you want to transport. Then scheduling problem, any problem where you want to fix some schedule, you want to optimize your schedule, you can fix. Beyond this, in software engineering, for software engineering matrices, there are so many application of ant colony optimization, like to find software reliability, to find software cost effort estimation, to optimize the efforts, to optimize the cost estimation of software, to optimize the maintenance of software. You can apply this ant colony optimization. There are a lot of applications for this. And in networking also, for routing problem, there is an application. So these are some benefits and drawbacks of ant colony optimization. It can be used in dynamic applications. Yes, this is a benefit. It can be used in, because this is a pure concept. This is not problem specific. This is a concept where you want to fit your concept, where you could fit your concept, you could fit your concept. Theoretical analysis is difficult. Research is experimental rather than theoretical. Yes, it's theoretical analysis is a bit difficult, but it's because it is experimental rather than theoretical. Convergence is guaranteed, but time to convergence is uncertain. Yes, it is definitely going to give you a solution. Convergence is guaranteed, but time to convergence is not guaranteed. It may take more time, but definitely it will give you a solution. So once you first, it is not so that every time whenever you run your algorithm, it will give you a same solution, or it will give you that in the same solution at the same time. Time to convergence is uncertain. Trade-off in evaluating convergence: focus is on quality of solution, not time. So means like time is not a trade-off. We can remove the time constraint, because we are focusing on the quality. We are finding out the solution of such problem which we couldn't found with traditional algorithms, and it is for, and mostly it is for NP hard problems. Coding is somewhat complicated, not straightforward. Yes, definitely coding is complicated, because you have to like you have to take consideration. First is you have to define some structure for ants, you have to assign some memory, you have to find out a particular data structure for those ants, and then you have to you have to consider the local updation also, and then you have to take into consideration global and consideration. So coding is a bit of difficult. So these are some benefits and drawbacks for ant colony optimization algorithm. And then these are the ongoing modifications are, we can in the field of ant colony optimizations, like we are trying to adding the obstacles, more obstacles. What happens if we add more obstacles? We try to add the time constraints. We are playing around with evaporation rate of pheromone. Once, what happens if we reduce it? What happens if we put more evaporation? Varying importance of pheromone, so we will vary the importance of pheromones also. So this is kind of ongoing modifications are in the field of ant colony optimization. So I think we have more time, we can discuss particle swarm optimization algorithm also. So particle swarm optimization, again, it is a swarm based optimization algorithm, and it is based on this fish schooling or bird flocking. It is based upon the swarm, how fishes moves form a school for finding out the food sources, how birds form a flock for like you have seen in the evening, so many birds go together. It's called birds flocking. So a particle is a small localized, what is particle? Swarm, we know what is swarm. Particle is the individual insect in the swarm is known as particle. A particle is a small localized object to which can be ascribed several physical and chemical properties such as volume or mass. So these are the example of particles. And this is a swarm. I already discussed that what is swarm. It is the collection of something that moves somewhere in large. So it is flock, crowd. So particle swarm optimization or PSO is fish schooling, or it is based on fish schooling or bird flocking. In theory, at least individual members of a school can profit from the discoveries and previous experience of all other members of the school during the search for food. So these are the concepts of particle swarm optimization. It was developed by 1995 by James Kennedy, which was who was a social psychologist, and Russell Ebert, an electrical engineering. PSO is robust stochastic optimization technique based on the movement of intelligence of swarms. So robust means it will give you solution in every situation. Whatever be the situation, definitely PSO is going to give you a solution. Stochastic optimization I discussed, it is not the traditional method, it has some randomness, and it is for NP hard problem. So particle swarm optimization applies the concept of social interaction to problem solving. How how the individual particles interact socially for solving their problem. Each particle is treated as a point in a space which adjusts its movement according to its own experience as well as the experience of the other particle. If you have seen ever the bird flocking, they go together in the same direction, so they have to adjust their speeds with all other particles in that particular swarm. So this is that particular thing. So this is the example of cooperation. Let's say two ships boats are moving in the same direction, one from one corner, another from the another corner, and when they keep on updating the other partner about their location. So once once the first one reach here, green one reach here, it will update and it know that this is here, so second one is need not to travel. So like this is an example of cooperation example. So this is the basic idea behind swarm optimization. Each particle search for optimum. Each particle will search for its optimum location. It moves, particle moves, it means they have some velocity, and each particle remembers its best position. So it means they have some memory because they remember. They move because they have some velocity, and they search for the optimum. The particle in swarm cooperate, exchange information about what they have discovered in the places they have visited. So the cooperation is very simple in particle swarm optimization. Particle has a neighborhood associated with it. A particle knows the fitness of those in its neighborhood. Fitness, or you can say their distance from the food source, their velocity, and uses the position of its own position, position of the one with the best fitness, which is the best suitable position. It automatically update itself to the best situation. The best position. The position is simply used to adjust the particle velocity, how it adjusts the velocity. So this is position and velocity initialization. So let's say these are some particles. Just a minute. So this is called neighborhood. Every particle has its neighborhood, and geographical neighborhood, social neighborhood, both. These are geographical neighborhood and these are the social neighborhood. More distant known as social neighborhood. So this is called the concept of neighborhood. Okay, so what a particle does in each time step, every time step, a particle has to move to a new position because they have velocity, they are moving. So how they will, to which position they have to move? So the position is current velocity plus personal best plus neighborhood best. What is the particle's current best velocity? What is the best velocity that particular particle has achieved so far? Plus what is the best velocity in the neighborhood. So it will add all the things and having worked out, and then it will find a new velocity, and then it adjusts the position plus new velocity. So here you can think that how we can add a position to the velocity, because we cannot add distance to the velocity, but it is for per time stamp. That's why we are adding position to the velocity. So particle adjust to their position according to the socio-psychological compromise. This is PI is the my best preference and PG is the best preference of my neighbors, and then it will find the here the X is the current position of particle. Here I am. This is my best position. This is the neighborhood best, and then it means this is my velocity. So I have to add these things and I have to achieve the new position. Okay, so update equation. Each particle tries to modify its current position and velocity according to the distance between its current position is P best. P best is now representing the particle best, and the distance between its current position and global best. Global best is representing the neighborhood best. So this is the equation. V is equal to V plus C1 R1 P best minus current plus C2 R2 G best minus current. So this is the velocity update equation, rate of change in particles position. V is the updated velocity, and here this V is the current velocity, and then C1 and C2 are acceleration factors. They can be used to change the weighting between personal and population experience. R1 and R2 are random values. They can to stop the swarm converging too quickly. So we will multiply it, and most of the time it will take between 0 to 1. P best, this is personal component which draws individual back to their previous best position. And this is the G best. G best is the social component where individual compare themselves to other in their group. And then current is equal to current plus V. So current is the position update equation. Current is equal to current plus V. So every time they update the position again with the help of this algorithm, this equation. So this is the flow chart of particle swarm. Just a minute. This is the flow chart of particle swarm optimization algorithm. Algorithm start, initialize particles with random positions and velocity and vectors. Every particle is initialized with its random position, velocity and vector. For each particle, position is each particle's position P, it evaluates its fitness. Every particle, this is called local update, this loop. Every particle evaluates its position. If fitness P better than fitness P best, then P best will be P. Otherwise, P best will be P best. So it, or every time it evaluate and it compare. Set best of P best as G best. So among all the P best, I mean all the particles personal best, which one is the most suitable, set it to the global best. And then update particle velocity according to equation number 1 and equation number 3, what I have shown here. Stop giving G best optimal solution. Stop until unless all the P best are come out to be equal. So all particles best is the equal, then stop giving. This is the loop until maximum iteration, and this is the loop until all particle exhaust. So there is an inner loop, local loop, there is a global loop also. So a brief overview of what is like the modifications, ongoing modifications in the field of particle swarm optimization with inertia weight PSO, particle swarm optimization W with inertia weight, then PSOC with constriction factor, then FIPSO fully informed particle swarm optimization, then HPSOM hybrid PSO with mutation, and then mean PSO. So what does it mean? So almost all modifications vary in some way the velocity update. So almost all the, like in ant colony optimization, we were either varying pheromone or putting the obstacles. In the particle swarm optimization for upcoming modifications, almost all the modifications are varying because we have only velocity update equation. So we can do some modification in velocity update equation. So first one is inertia weight, that is known as particle PSOW. She and Abbott introduced inertia weight in the algorithm, and here the iterative expression V is equal to W asterisk V. So here the equation is same, that one, but in that particular original algorithm there was V is equal to V. Here we add some weight factor also. Weight represents the inertia weight, which enhances the exploration ability of particles. So it is, you can say that weight is a kind of importance. So now that next one is constriction factor. Clark and Kennedy proposed the constriction factor is effective for algorithm to convergence. And here we add some constriction factor X and multiply this factor to the whole equation. And X is defined with 2 upon, this is the formula for X, and phi is equal to C1 plus C2. C1 and C2 are acceleration factor of the algorithm, and it should be greater than 4. So now next is fully informed particle swarm optimization. A particle is attracted by every other particle in the neighborhood. Once I show you the neighborhood graph, I say that social and physical neighborhood, but it is saying this fully informed PSO says that particles should interact with all the neighbor. There should not be the concept of social neighborhood or physical neighborhood. They should interact with all the particles. That's why we put here, summation. And next one is stagnation. So PSO algorithm performs well in the early stage, but easily becomes premature in the local optima area. So one time sometimes it goes to that area where every time you will find the same solution, but that is not the optimal solution. That is called local optima. So if the current position of a particle is identical with the global, if the current position of the particle is identical with the global best position, and if the current velocity is a small value, then velocity next iteration definitely will be smaller. This is phenomena is known as stagnation. So for that particular, we use this algorithm. So HPSO, hybrid PSO with mutation, HPSOM, has the potential to escape from the local optimum and search a new position. The mutation scheme randomly choose a particle and then move to a different position. It is not so that we will serially go to a particle. Then the mutation scheme will randomly choose the particle. So these are the equation for mutation, hybrid PSMO. XID is equal to delta X, and what is delta X is randomly obtained from this range. So then mean PSO, it takes the mean of all the speeds, all the velocity, and then that particular, then update all the particle with the mean velocity. So that's why it is called mean. So applications for particle swarm optimizations are also routing problem, traveling salesman problem. For all the NP-hard problems, you can apply this particle swarm optimization algorithm. And natural, so I discussed two phenomena. We have these two are known as basic bio-inspired optimization algorithm, ant colony optimization and particles. And then we have so many firefly algorithm, cuckoo search algorithm, bee colony optimization, artificial bee colony. Then there are so many modification in this algorithm, but these two are the basic algorithms for nature inspired computation, and most of the scientists are still working on this. They are looking to the mother nature, try to find out the solution, because it is believed that for all our problems, solution already exists in mother nature. So this is biology and computer science, life and computation are related to each other. And this Edelman in 1998, he said that I am confident that at their interface great discovery awaits those who seek them. So if we integrate biology with computer science, we can found the great solution of our problem. So this was the basic idea behind bio-inspired optimization algorithm. Thank you so much for hearing me with patience. If you want to ask, you can ask anything.
Thank you, Dr. Seth. I'll take up some questions. First one is, what mathematical background is needed to understand nature-inspired computing?
See, mathematical background, as suppose you should know the integration, differentiation, the basic mathematics, and not more than this, but because you should understand the concept, and definitely when you fit your concept to your problem, you need a kind of mathematics. So you should need the basic mathematics required, like differentiation, integration, and not much more than this.
Okay. The next is, what are the parameters on the basis of which the performance of these optimization algorithms is calculated?
See, parameters always depends upon your problem. These are not problem specific. First thing is, these are the concept. Now, when you fit this concept into your problem, so it depends upon your problem. For example, if you put it for, like for example, you want to you want to fit it for traveling salesman problem. So the first and foremost parameter is the distance should be minimum. Okay, shortest path. Then if you fit it to some some software engineering problem, like for example, you want to minimize the efforts, then you should think that on what parameters those effort depends, those will be the parameter. So these are not problem specific, these are the concept to which problem you will fit. You will design parameter according to your problem.
Next is, can such optimization algorithms be combined with other existing algorithms in some hybrid way?
Yes, there are so many, like we are combining these algorithms with fuzzy algorithms. We are combining this with artificial neural. Already it has been, hybridization has been done. It has been combined with artificial neural networks. It has been combined with fuzzy inference system, or it has been itself combined with genetic algorithms also, or you can, it's like that.
Okay, thank you. I think we have covered all the questions. May I now invite Dr. Arun Kumar Ji, HODAC, to say a few words.
Hello. First, I would like to thank Dr. Kirti Seth for accepting our invitation in a short span of time. And Madam, it was a very good session, and especially for electronics and communication department faculties, this session was useful because it's new to our department faculty, and it was a good session, Madam. On behalf of JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida, I would like to thank once again. I would like to thank Dr. Kirti Seth. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you too. Okay. Goodbye.
Thank you,
Go to you, Chai Bro.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Seth. Thank you once again for being with us. Dear participants, please join us again at 1:45 for the next session. The YouTube link will be shared with all of you. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye and have a nice day.
Goodbye, ma'am.